Okay, so I saw this on Twitter and I went to Piers Morgan YouTube channel. And so let's listen to this together, guys. Hopefully we can hear it.
Experience for me.
I'm sorry we didn't. Welcome after a photo. Just frankly, great to see you back on Uncensored. Thank you very much. Well, joining me now is the Family Ties actress and filmmaker Justine Bateman, who branded the Duke and Duchess of Sussex disaster tourists after a photo op that they did with Los Angeles wildfire victims. Well, Justine, welcome to Uncensored. Great to talk to you.
Thanks. I'm a filmmaker and an author for the last decade, so acting's a past experience for me.
I'm sorry we didn't categorize you correctly. I'm glad you corrected the record. You made a lot of noise and headlines with what you said. I have to say, I thought you were completely right. It does seem to be that every time there is any kind of disaster at the moment, these two trot along and they're almost like pretending to be a separate rival royal family without any of the duties that the actual royal family back here in the UK have to perform to be royals. What was it that motivated you to do this?
I don't know. I don't know what they do for a living. What's important here is that there is a devastating lack of leadership in California. There were things that were not been done that could have been done to mitigate the damage. And at the point that these two had this strange tour, fires were still raging. People were missing. There might have been human remains in the ashes upon which they walked. This was bizarre. Everybody in Los Angeles either lost their home.
This is her personal assistant. And she's like pretending, or I mean, this is what I read on a comment section. I think what she's doing here,
homes or nose,
she's taking her eyes and she's purposely trying to like do a cross-eye thing to make it look like she's. Are you guys know? Can you see that? To make it look like she's more concerned. I don't know. This chick does all kinds of weird acting tricks and things. Okay, let me continue on. All right. We'll back it up. I mean, she just is so disgusting, but she's not in with the cool group. Like, her group is now being demoted, kicked out, and relegated. She's seen with what? Who is this chick? Oof, okay. I pray to God I never. Oh, dear Lord, help me. Okay.
Upon which they walked. This was bizarre. Everybody in Los Angeles either lost their homes or knows somebody, more than one person who lost their homes where it was burnt to the ground. Everything just to ash. So we're all busy and also a lot.
Why is he laughing at her? And everybody else, what is going on here? Okay, so let's focus on what Justine is saying.
A lot of people didn't have power. We personally didn't have power for 3 days. And so there were looters going up and down the streets looking for places to go in and steal. For anybody that's not a politician or a government official who's looking at the damage to see how much money they're going to allocate to this area, for anybody besides that to be having any kind of tour is just insane. It made no sense whatsoever, completely offensive. And now it's important that California rebuilds, that we get different leadership so that we have, so practices are put in place could we have kept the wind from being that strong and from the fire raging that big? No, but there were things we could have done to mitigate this maximum level of damage that occurred. And
weather modification planes that LBJ used in Vietnam. I don't know. I've got an article that I posted on another boring. Everything to do with these guys is boring.
That's what I hope happens going forward. That voters stop voting for D or R. Just look at the person and vote for who you think can handle your worst case scenario in your state or city or country.
Yeah, but it was utterly absurd that the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, who literally said 2 years ago, the New York Times uncovered this quote, that if she won and became the mayor, she would never leave America. through the duration of her mayorship. She would stay in America, only travel internally. And then she, at the moment of utter crisis for Los Angeles, with a prediction of extremely dangerous winds, with obviously incredibly dry terrain, because there's been no rain since October, that she chose that moment to get on a plane and go to the inauguration ceremony for an African president. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you there? I mean, in a way, it was as inappropriate to me as Meghan and Harry trotting down to do this photo op in the way that you obviously were offended by, and many other people were. It was equally inappropriate. So what are you doing? You don't need to be there other than for a self-aggrandizing photo op.
Yeah, the leaving town. I mean, as I understand, in Kiribati's capacity as representative of California for many, many years in Washington, that she went on a trip, I think New York Times said the other day, she went on a trip to Africa like every couple of months or something. And that someone asked, like, if you are mayor, will you miss these, what will you miss? And she said, I'll miss that the most.
Right.
Well, obviously that still was part of her agenda. And like you said, I don't know to what end. And it makes me feel.
Why was she going back and forth to Africa? What was she involved in some sort of a regime change there? Like normal for the US? All right, let's go.
Right.
Well, obviously that still was part of her agenda. And like you said, I don't know to what end. And it makes me feel like I know she's completely unfamiliar with the entertainment business, which is the main business of this city. But she's also seems to be unfamiliar with Los Angeles as a whole, even though she's been a representative of this area. Because if there is a wind prediction that there's going to be 60, 70, 80 mile an hour winds, at the very least, you're going to have power outages all over the place because nobody's buried the lines.
Right.
I mean, let's do that. There's so many things we could be doing.
And that was Joe Biden's infrastructure bill. Honestly, this is the worst I ever saw. The roads and the infrastructure, if that's what you want to call it, since I've been alive. But
doing here, and for a state where we pay almost the highest, I know New York City has a double tax, but if you're just looking at state tax, we pay the highest tax, I believe, of the country. To not have things that mitigate the problems happen here and will happen over and over and over and over again. And as a politician, like you said, to leave at that moment, 2 days after you knew this was going to be an issue.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
We saw a response to what you said about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Somebody on their behalf briefed page 6 of the New York Post. It's offensive to Meghan and Harry that anyone would think this is merely a photo op. Meghan was born and raised in Los Angeles, so this is and always will be home to her. Her heart is completely broken for all the lives that have been lost and for those whose homes have.
I thought she was going to hit the ground running in the UK with Harry. Oh, there's just more weirdness with these people.
Been destroyed. They're also dedicated countless hours to volunteering long before the media even got wind of their involvement.
I never saw that.
What's your response to their response?
I don't know who these people are. I don't know why they were walking all over possible human remains because there were people missing, right? In the ashes. I don't know why there was this official mayor of Pasadena tour. The whole thing is really so out of place, so ridiculous, so tone deaf.
Yeah.
And it was, like I said, disaster. They were like disaster tourists. What's important, like I said, is that we help the people who have been devastated by these fires. I know there's been a moratorium on, insurance cancellations, but I'd like to see a moratorium on zoning laws, because what they're going to do to a lot of these people, especially those in Altadena, who maybe can't afford to rebuild, or, will have a struggle with that. They want to rezone the whole thing, and so it's not single family homes anymore. It's just apartment buildings.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to
lot
see
of work to
more
be done.
effort put into helping the people of Los Angeles.
Yeah. Justine Bateman, great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Okay, well, there we go. And okay.